And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another weekend edition of the PondCast episode 70, your weekly dose of all things StarCraft. Let's go. Let's go. Of course, your host, Live VIP. With me, I'm joined by the amazing people in the chat, and of course, by Kuro handling the production side of things as well, bringing you your weekly wrap-up show, your weekly talk show update in all things StarCraft. Let's go, baby. Let's go. This week there was quite a lot to get into and quite a lot to discuss. As there, especially when it comes to last night. Thankfully, for the first time, we had a big announcement before the PondCast. It's crazy. Oh my god. I think maybe the intern messed up a little bit. They accidentally just scheduled the tweet at the wrong time. But first things first, before we get into the big news of the week, we are going to be jumping into the 25th anniversary of Team Liquid. This was last week. The event was held, there was the anniversary event. It was all over the social medias, and there was a big kind of fan meeting, I should say, as well, regarding the old school members of Team Liquid that are no longer a part of the team, but once were. And they brought together Tasia, they brought together Hero as well, Nazgul, and a bunch of other Jinro, and a bunch of other OGs. It was great to see them all coming together over in Seoul, over in South Korea, after so long. After so long. And again, it was really cool. I mean, Tasia, he's someone who's still been in the scene. I mean, has been competing in recent weeks. But Hero is a player that we haven't seen in a very long time. So it was really cool to see him return despite such a long retirement and such a long hiatus. I'm sure Gemini was there. I'm sure 100% he would have been there alongside many others. And it wasn't just a signing event or anything like that. It wasn't just a return of some of the old school members of TL coming together for this big anniversary in Seoul. But also they were hosting some show matches as well. There was kind of like a combination show match. I know the Onside were tweeting about it as well. But they did feature a StarCraft II show match between Maru and Kyor, a TVT between the two players, which was casted in Korean. What was really cool is that, I think we discussed this previously last week, but it isn't just a show match between the two of them, but they actually had some show matches between some VTubers as well. I didn't check and I didn't confirm if these were the same VTubers that were coached by Crank in the Chijik event. It would have been really fun if it was. Like, it would have been it would have been a nice kind of full circle sort of thing. But there were some other streamers that were also, they were also competing and having their own show matches as well, and also kind of bringing in more interest, I should say, to StarCraft II. So it was a really fun event. From my understanding as well, this was kind of like the first leg of the 25th anniversary of Team Liquid. Like, they plan on hosting other events around the world. It's just the Korean event, the Seoul event, was focused on StarCraft II. I believe there are other rosters, whether it's League of Legends, whether it's Dota, whether it's their other esports teams, are going to be involved when it comes to the other celebrations in Europe, in the Americas, in other parts of the world. So there's going to be more to their celebration outside of just this event, but it was really cool to see, again, some old faces come together, some new faces come together to compete as well. And yeah, and if you want to tune into it, I believe the VODs are going to be available over on Crank's channel. CranKy has been, or he was covering the event himself. He was casting the event in Korean. Unfortunately, I don't think there was any English coverage of the event, so that's a little bit unfortunate. But we do have some video footage from the event itself, some photos as well. I know that we had some of our own Ducklings there, going to meet up with Crank and going to see all these, going to see everyone. We actually had some other people in the community. I know that Sammy, he was also at the event as well, also going in to get autographs, to hang out with some of the other players. And it wasn't just like a signing session, wasn't just a show match, but it actually had the players themselves actually coach and kind of introduce the people that were there to StarCraft, because I'm sure there were some people that maybe a little bit unfamiliar, or maybe they haven't played in a long time and wanted some coaching, but they did kind of like show up and they were kind of amongst the players, amongst the fans, and were able to kind of like be with them one-on-one and kind of like introduce them to the game, show them maybe give them some tips, maybe give them some like advice when it comes to improving at the game. So it was really cool to see kind of that level of interaction. Apparently we even had some remote play as well, with like Clem jumping onto like Discord calls and interacting with some of the fans there and talking to them. So it was really cool to see, again, like that level of interconnectivity. It's really cool, really fun. So again, you can check it out over on Crank's channel when it comes to his perspective and his coverage. Otherwise, if you check social medias, there are posts or photos of people at the event as well, so you can see from a different perspective. can see from a different perspective. Likewise, the next big event when it comes to offline events, that was kind of a big event that was happening, a show match event that was happening over in Korea. We had, of course, EPIC.LAN. EPIC.LAN was happening this weekend over in the UK. Now, someone that has been a regular at EPIC.LAN and has been claiming win after win has been Geralt. Geralt has been traveling a lot to EPIC.LAN to compete and to be able to earn prize money there, and of course to challenge the other players, the other local players of the scene. But if you remember, this time the EPIC.LAN did coincide with players traveling for SC for All for the Philadelphia tournament. So some players had to pick and choose whether they wanted to go to one or whether they wanted to travel to the other instead. Geralt, as we know, did travel to SC for All, did travel to the Americas, so he was not here this time to try to defend his crown. Instead, we did have a player that I think may have been there for the first time. Quickly double checking, but he was very opportunistic here. And yes, he was not at EPIC.LAN number 45. Likewise, I believe he was not at EPIC.LAN number 44 either. But we had Hydra. Hydra, the player from the Netherlands, did actually show up and did clean, or I say clean sweep, was a challenge to the local scene. Did drop maps, did have a back and forth. I will say that Hydra went all the way to the ace match against Raza, or Razorblader. Likewise, he did go all the way to the ace match against Zane in the finals as well. So it was a very intense, very back and forth matchup here. Really cool to see that level of competition amongst Hydra and the rest of the UK scene. In the end, Hydra did claim the win and did win his very first EPIC.LAN. Congratulations here to Hydra. And just double checking, Geralt, he had won the last 2, if not even 3 EPIC.LANs. It was crazy. Did I say 3? Yes, he won number 45, 44, number 43 as well. So 3 EPIC.LANs in a row. Again, Geralt, he was farming the EPIC.LANs, but not this time. Again, he was traveling elsewhere. So congratulations to Hydra claiming the win. This is actually a big win for Hydra, maybe the biggest that he's had when it comes to, especially an offline setting, and offline lands, and offline tournaments. So congratulations to Hydra. And really cool to see the other competitors here as well. There's always a lot of competition here amongst the UK players. Unfortunately, once again, ¿a dónde está Iba? God damn it. But it was really cool to see Zane, Raza also competing as well, despite Raza long being retired. Really cool to see him competing and actually being competitive against Hydra. Something we don't often see. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Hydra. Shout out to the other top players, of course, to the tournament. Hydra looking very aesthetic when it comes to the trophy. Oh, he looks so happy. It's great. Shout out to Hydra. As that does lead us here into our next big event, which we just mentioned actually, at SC for All. SC for All, as I mentioned, Geralt, he did travel to this event alongside many other players, of course. We had the invited players, we had the local talent as well. We had the big names like, your Straya, Geralt, Trigger. We had some Koreans and Percival. We had Mixu traveling as well. But it was really cool to see some more NA representation, some representation that we haven't seen in a long time. Specifically, PendGy. If you remember, he did name change. I want to say name change after he retired, but Penguin, who in the past was a big part of My Insanity, then Sidestorm Gaming, and more recently Apprentice Esports. But Penguin, he was a big part of StarCraft in his own way, especially back in the day, and he has been gone for a very long time. It's been years since Penguin has competed in anything. I'm just quickly double checking here whether he played in maybe like a random Open Cup or maybe like a Spicy League. But yeah, just quickly checking here. Last time he really competed was in 2021, if not 2020. Like, again, like very sporadic with his competition, with his play. Apparently he was playing technically in the LTK Invitational Team League back in 2022, but even then he wasn't necessarily fielded as much, or if at all. So yeah, it was really cool to see PendGy return after a very long time, after a very, very long hiatus as well. After a long hiatus. And again, he doesn't, I mean, he's still not in form and the way that he once was, of course. We don't really expect that of him, but really cool to see him returning once again to StarCraft. Yeah, you're never really gone, Pappy. Never really gone. Likewise, we had more regulars like your Futures, like your Folkster, Maples, Full Heart, Starkiller. Starkiller, who has been more active and more regular when it comes to these offline events, when it comes to Cheeseadelphia. It was really cool to see Silky. Silky, he's another retired player, right? Silky, he's been gone for also a very long time. Jon Snow, also a retired player. So Jon Snow, Silky, we haven't seen them in a very long time. Also, really cool to see them after a hiatus, right? Like Silky, last time he competed was, let's double check here, NorCal Starfest. So again, another local offline event that was back in 2024. Before that, he dabbled in Open Cups in 2023, but again, very sporadic from Silky. Likewise, Jon Snow, also, last time he played was Cheeseadelphia, that one event in 2024. Before that, DreamHack Atlanta in 2022. So again, Jon Snow, it's been a long time since he's been a regular active competitor. It's been years, essentially, so it's great to see them back, return. And what's important about the SE for All tournaments, I mean, we're not going to get into, I guess, the other events, as in the specific results, but this was a celebration of all things StarCraft, right? This was multiple events happening at once. It was StarCraft II tournament, a Brutal tournament, and some StarCraft 64 show matches, or like pseudo tournament as well. So 3 different forms of StarCraft. It did bring together a lot of viewership as well. For the first time, we weren't the only stream. Like, I mean, there was the main stream, the local stream from the event itself. There was us, but for the first time, there were other like B streams or co-streamers. Rotterdam was streaming it. So we had Steadfast streaming it. We had Indie casting it in Polish, of course. We had TKL and Coca in French. So for the first time, there was a lot more coverage of the event. When I say for the first time, this was previously Cheeseadelphia. Cheeseadelphia, they didn't necessarily rebrand, but they partnered with the SE Historian. SE Historian did become the main sponsor, and together they worked together to bring this new event, SE for All, but still at the old Cheeseadelphia venue with the same production kind of team working behind the scenes as well, with the same kind of setup, admins and whatnot. So yeah, it was really cool to see them come together and turn this into something even greater here. It's a really good way to kind of get a lot of eyes on the event, to kind of get a lot of attention, to get a lot more support as well, and to bring together players from multiple different esports, but still with the love of StarCraft. So it's a really cool initiative, really cool endeavor. I hope that it was successful for the SE Historian, and I hope he's able to do this again, right? It would be amazing if this could be an annual event. I do think that this has finally been like kind of the breakout moment for Cheese. I feel like Cheeseadelphia was very niche, and it never really garnered too much international attention. But here, with the boosted prize pool, with invited international players, like Geralt, like Percival, like Mixu, and bringing in Trigger and Estrella as well, and Future, the best players in the Americas, like it brings together so much more hype, and it is, I feel like, the injection that Cheeseadelphia needed to kind of get on the map for a lot of people that would otherwise not really care about the event or not really pay attention to the event either. So really cool to see. Again, the SE Historian, he did I mean, he was, I'm sure, elated at the event as well, and seeing everyone coming together. It was beautiful. It was amazing. When it comes to the event itself, we were casting it ourselves. We were one of the side streams, and we did cover all the playoffs, but we did pass out before the finals. The reasoning for this is that the schedule was even longer. I think we cast for 11 hours, and it kept going. I think it would have been like a 13-hour cast. And had another cast the next afternoon. Like I couldn't keep going if I wanted to cast some more afterwards. One of the reasons why it was so long as well is because they would alternate between StarCraft 2 and Brood War. So it'd be like StarCraft 2 semis, and then the Brood War semis, then StarCraft 2 semis, then Brood War finals, then Brood War semis, then Brood War finals, and then SE2 finals, and spliced in between StarCraft 64 as well. So like there was a lot of content, a lot of tournaments at once, and it did kind of make the final day even longer than previously. So that was definitely something that caught me a little bit off guard when it comes to the length of the games and just how much there would be outside of just StarCraft. We had some fun, we got to cast some Brood War for the first time. I will say that casting StarCraft Evolution helped a lot, as the meta in Brood War is very similar. It's very similar to StarCraft Evolution. It was like, oh yeah, kind of we know where this is going, we know where this is headed. Like, it felt a little bit more seamless. Obviously, when it comes to like map analysis and like meta, being aware of what the meta is, being aware of like what maps favor, what they don't favor, what kind of strategic and more defensive advantages there are, or offensive advantages there are. Like there were definitely some intricacies that I am less familiar with Brood War, so I couldn't really add that to the cast. But for the most part, it was a lot of fun to cover it. It was a lot of fun to see, to watch, and yeah, it was good. Was good. Does that mean that we step into Brood War casting? I have no time. If there was less StarCraft 2 like content to cover and to cast, then maybe. But I mean, look at this week's schedule, right? We're casting twice a day, every single day. Like there's so much StarCraft going on. We have no room, we have no time. Despite people being like, oh, like we're in the off season of StarCraft. That means nothing to us. I think we've spoken about this before. Whenever there's the off season, doesn't mean anything. We're still casting at least once a day every day, or like this week twice a day every day. Like there's so many events that aren't tied to EWC or to EPT, they aren't tied to the main circuit, that there's always StarCraft going on in some way, shape or form. So we're always busy. There's always ways we can be kept busy for sure, 100%. But when it comes to the event itself, shout out to Trigger. Trigger, he did have a very strong showing. Coming into the event, our prediction was that Trigger would win it. We were like, Trigger, he is the best player at the event. It's all about whether or not anyone can stop Trigger. I would have said that the best chance to stop Trigger was probably going to be Estrella. If you remember, Estrella did barely defeat Trigger at StarCraft at the S2 Safe House. That was like a month ago. It was the finals, went all the way to the ace match. It was a crazy finals and back and forth between Estrella and Trigger, and Estrella, he barely took the win. So in my mind, Estrella would have been the best answer to Trigger, but as you can see in the playoffs, Estrella got knocked out early by Percival. He knocked down Estrella. He had a very close series against Geralt, very close, very back and forth. Barely went the way of Percival, and then Trigger had a much more one-sided series in the grand finals, which in my mind it was to be expected. Like Trigger, he is the best player in the Americas. He has dethroned Estrella, did so quite some time ago, and Trigger, he is, I would say again, like the best. He's the typical NA representative when it comes to international tournaments, and he's been, of course, in Korea this entire time, training, competing, improving, and leveling up. So Trigger, he's kind of like the new kind of big face of NA at the moment. And Percival did pose a threat, of course, did make a series out of it, did take a couple of games, which is really good, but in the end, Trigger did claim the series. GG. Congratulations to Trigger for becoming the SC for All champion. Again, unfortunately, I didn't get to cast those final games, as we did finish at the end of basically we covered the semis for StarCraft 2, semis for Brood War, we casted the finals for Brood War, and then we passed the hell out. So did miss out on the grand finals for SC2, but we might be able to get the replays of that and cover it ourselves at a later date. But again, shout out to the StarCraft historian, shout out to all the people working behind the scenes, all the people going to the event as well. It was a very, very, very big event. 2 days of StarCraft with the initial Swiss stage and group stage, followed by the playoffs as well. There was a lot going on. And here's to the event growing in the future, maybe even having a 3-day event even. I would personally love that. I'd love it I'd love for it to be a 3-day event. We have the Swiss stage in day 1, then the group stage in day 2, and then the playoffs in day 3. If that would be possible, that'd be amazing. It'd give more time to cover more Brood War and SE2 as well. It just give more time and more room for everyone else involved. I know it's difficult because, of course, if you leak into Friday, I mean, people are working, right? People are busy, whether it's studies, school, or work as well, other kind of commitments. So it's harder to commit to something like a 3-day event, for sure. But these 2 days did feel very jam-packed. It felt very condensed and very intense, and it was a lot of StarCraft. A lot of StarCraft in 2 days, but yeah. But yeah, hopefully we can see more StarCraft Evolution StarCraft for All in years to come. So shout out to the SE historian. With that leads us into our next big event. So that is the Merivale 8 Open. This is a bit of an offshoot to the Stellar Fest. Stellar Fest is a big event happening in Canada, in Ottawa, Canada. If you recall, we did cover the qualifiers previously. And here we have the main event. This took place the day after the SC for All tournament. So basically one tournament ends, the other begins in the Americas. There are some players that flew from one to the other as well. So a lot of NA StarCraft going on right now. This was covered by Steadfast and by Pig. And this was the initial group stage, the kind of round robin stage, I should say. We had 14 players rocking up, 14 players competing. We had some amateur players in the mix, like Jammery, Captain Willie, Vast, Beast, who's more of a GM, who's more of an up-and-coming player. We had Monkey Pop, Awesome Sauce, and Maze. Unfortunately, when it comes to the more up-and-coming players, they did not quite make the cut. It was top 8. Top 8 from the round robin stage would advance on into the playoffs. And here we have kind of our typical players. We have Lambo, Geralt, Future, Scarlet, Hearthstone, Maples, Mixu, and Foxer. These 8 players will be advancing on to join the invited and qualified players in the main event. So it's a little bit weird just because they had some really weird names, right? Like the qualifiers were called Leading Four Selections, like the group stage was called the Merivale Open, like they have their own names for each kind of portion, because I technically they're meant to be their own events, I suppose, except for the Leading Four Selection. But the Merivale Open is technically meant to be its own event. It's just kind of like working with Stellarfest and leading into Stellarfest. And speaking of, Stellarfest is going to be beginning, I believe, in just over 24 hours. As you can see here on the 7th of November, you can see the playoffs are starting in 1 day and 6 hours time, according to Wikipedia at least. And you can see here you have the qualified players. You have Trigger, Zan, Björn, and Clem that qualified through the qualifiers. And then you have the players making it through the Merivale 8 Open, the open stage, essentially, with Geralt, Hearthstone, Maples, Foxer, Future, Lambo, Mixu, and Scarlet. And it's great to see the return of Scarlet. Again, we spoke about her return during the Crank Gather Season 2 group stage. When competing in the Team League match for Shopify, Scarlet was being fielded, and that was her first time competing in a very long time. That marked the return of Scarlet. She's been on a very long hiatus, and recently she came back. I do feel like part of the reason why she came back is because of the show match happening in China. She was invited to the big show match that's going to be, or that was originally scheduled for the end of November. I believe they've rescheduled. They haven't confirmed the new dates, but we spoke about it, right? So there's like a big celebration event happening in China, celebrating the return of the Chinese server. Scarlet, no surprise that she's been spending a lot of time in China, is going to be going to that event as well. She's going to be part of that alongside Oliveira and many others. So it would make sense for her to want to, look her best, right, for that event, to look her best, to be in form and to be able to, show some good games to the fans, right? Like, unironically, like, so, this is kind of her return ever since EWC. I'm just double checking, and yes, so her return here in October, end of October the 27th, it's her first time competing since July of this year. So it's been a couple of months, again, ever since the end of EWC, the end of Esports World Cup. Is basically when she went on a hiatus, and again only recently came back during the Crank Gathers event, and now for Stellarfest and leading into that show match over in China. So yeah, it's really cool to see her return. It's really cool to see her do well in the Merivale Open as well, and best of luck when it comes to the playoffs. Looks like the players have yet to be seeded. They should be seeded soon, especially since they're beginning soon as well. And we'll see if we're a part of the event. What I mean by that is there's going to be the mainstream. They did reach out in regards to maybe being the B stream for one of these days. We still have yet to confirm. We still have to get some details as to how this is going to work. Yeah, we wouldn't mind being a part of the event. It's a little bit short notice, and our schedule is very packed at the moment. But we can be a little bit flexible. We can be a little bit flexible, and we can move some things around. Like, it's not impossible for us to do that. So, we'll see. We'll see if we can shift some stuff around. We'll have our people talk to their people, and we'll figure it out. Figure it out. But otherwise, yeah, Stellarfest, more NA StarCraft coming up in the next couple of days. And again, that's going to be covered by both Steadfast and Pig, El Chanchito, and also Lambo and Hearthstone. Whenever they're not competing, they're also going to be jumping on the casting couch and also providing some analysis as well. They both agreed to do so whenever they do have some free time, whenever they're not competing. Meanwhile, when it comes to big... Jeez, there's just so much going on right now. When it comes to big events, RSL, the Rival StarCraft League, we have confirmed groups. Of course, last time we were... I almost said last time. Here we also have confirmation of who won the fan vote. For those who remember, there were 2 player slots available for fan voting, for fan votes for the RSL, and we have from the patron, I should say. So the patrons have spoken, and I thought it was going to be a sure thing for SOS and Gumiho, to be honest. Like, I feel like they probably have like the most amount of star power and fan base behind them to vote for them. And we were kind of right. SOS, yep, did make it through the voting. but we have Ryung instead, and I'm very happy to see Ryung making it through. If you remember, I was so sad because there was a qualifying match between Ryung and Solar, and Ryung was dominating. He was dominating that best of five. Ryung, I know that like people like to meme on Ryung because he's an old man and because he's a tuner, but Pappy, he's a tuner. Like he's pretty good. Like he's and he was up like 2-1, like in a best of five. Like Ryung, he was looking so good against Solar, and then Solar he resorted to all ins. He just all in and cheesed the hell out of Ryung 2 games in a row, and then won the series. It was like like Ryung, he was looking so hyped and so pumped, and he was like he was looking dominant in the mid game, in the late game. Like he was all over the place. He was being very aggressive. We saw some bio, we saw some mech, we saw a bit of everything, and yeah, in the end, he got cheesed out, and it was very sad and great to see that the fans, they spoke. He got voted through, and he's going to be a part of the event. Let's go. When it comes to the group stage, we have Group A, B, C, and D. We do have Solar, Zan, Bunny, and MaxPax are going to be in the first group. We have Classic, Creator, Trigger, and Cure in Group B. We have Hero, Geralt, Shin, Byun in Group C. And we have Rainer, SOS, Ryung, and Maru in Group D. For some reason, both voted on players are in the same group. It's kind of weird. It's a little bit odd, not gonna lie, when it comes to how seeding works and what that means for the overall group itself. But we have confirmations, so starting from the 13th all the way to the 16th of November, that is going to be a week long full of groups. My big criticism here is that it does feel rushed. I mean, that's always been my criticism of the RSL broadcast. Is it's very condensed, it's very compact. It feels like they just want to get it over with and they just want to get through it. When I would say that you benefit more from spreading it out a little bit throughout the course of a month of StarCraft instead of 2 weeks of StarCraft. I think they've spoken about this in the past, where if you do everything too much too quickly, then it feels like it's over before it began. And if someone was unavailable for a couple of days in a week, like they feel like they miss out, then they try to catch up. It's difficult to catch up as well. So there are a lot of benefits here to spreading things out over a bit of a longer period of time instead of bam, just like spending everything all at once. So RSL Season 3 is going to be 2 weeks. Going to be 2 weeks worth of StarCraft. And I want to say that I feel like the previous weeks or the previous season was spread out a little bit more, right? I could be mistaken.
So previous seasons were lasting 3 weeks, but that is when they announced the Chinese event. And when they announced the Chinese event, RSL condensed everything to 2 weeks to fit in.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas I'm sure there would have been ways to still keep things a little bit more spread and accommodate in a different way. So yeah, unfortunately, it's just 2 weeks. 2 weeks of RSL. Week 1 is group stage. Week 2 is playoffs, and that's it. When it comes to our predictions here of the RSL, Group A is looking very stacked, is what I will say. Looking insanely stacked with Solar, Zan, Bunny, and MaxPax. I'm a little bit surprised that MaxPax is competing here. We spoke about this before, but in previous tournaments that do lead into an offline event, MaxPax is usually ineligible to compete because he will not go to the offline event. So there are going to be some complications if MaxPax wins the tournament, just because he will not be a part of that offline finals. So it's going to have to go to another person, another player. I mean, they'll have to deal with that. The admins, and the organizers are going to have to deal with that when it comes to that, I should say. So it feels a little bit weird with MaxPax playing. Group A, though, we're going to be favoring Solar and MaxPax. Zan has been less active. Bunny has been active recently. Zan less so. But again, MaxPax is the best Protoss player in all of Europe. Solar, he is arguably the best Zerg player in all of Korea right now. Yeah, I think I might say that. I think I would place him above Shin, and I'd place him above Rogue at the moment. Again, just because of their activity, just because of recent results as well. I think I would tentatively say that. So, yeah, so far, Solar and MaxPax are going to be favored coming out of Group A. For Group B, we have Classic, Creator, or at least in my opinion. Group B, we have Classic, Creator, Trigger, and Cure. This is a brutal group. Jesus. This might be the group of death. I feel like the skill level of all these players are quite close. Classic, there's a lot of hype around him, of course. Like, he is one of the best Protoss players in the world. He's top 3. He's top 3 alongside Hero and MaxPax, and you can kind of argue him even being top 2, or even top 1. So yeah, Classic, he is definitely going to be favored here. But Creator's been looking good recently. Trigger's been looking good recently. Cure's also been looking good recently as well. Like, this is a brutal group. Tentatively, I'll say like Classic and Cure just for some diversity, but we could see a double Protoss making it out of Group B as well. Group C is Hero, Geralt, Shin, and Byun. This is a difficult one to predict. I'm going to lean towards Hero and Byan, but I do know that you can never count Shin out. Shin can be a very tricky player, and he can always cause upsets, and he can always kind of take down even a player like Hero on a good day. So Shin, he's a wild card. I love casting him. I love seeing him. I want him to advance on. My heart says Shin will make it through. My head says Hero and Byan. So best of luck to Shin. Best of luck. Heading over to Group D, we have Raynor, SOS, Ryung, and Maru. I would say that this feels a little bit lopsided considering how stacked Group B is, and even how stacked Group A is. Coming into Group D, it's a little bit weird. Obviously, there's a lot of hype and a lot of fanfare around someone like SOS. SOS, in my opinion, has been a little bit lackluster in recent years. I know that it's really cool to see him return, but it feels like he's still kind of regaining his previous form. Like he's still on that climb, is still getting there, and he's still, I would say, a ways behind the other Korean Protosses. Behind Classic, Hero, Creator, Zaun. Like when I think of all the other Korean Protosses, like the top ones, like SOS is still behind them at the moment. He's still trying to get back up there. So it is going to be a tough group there for SOS. Maru, it's going to be a weird one for him as well. Maru has also been a little bit lackluster this year, not even this season, but this year. Maru has been very predictable. I do know that during the off season he does take that seriously. I think we spoke to Björn about it, but Maru, whenever there's some off season going on, like right now for example, he straight up just doesn't play. Like he just does not play. So he's a little bit more rough around the edges when it comes to these invitationals that incorporate Maru, just because he's less informed than he used to be. So this is Maru that's going to have to, get into high gear as quickly as possible coming into the group stage. And Ryung is a killer in TVT as well. Like I can see Raynor and Ryung making it out, to be honest. I can see Raynor and Ryung making it through the group, but best of luck to Maru. So it's either going to be, in my opinion, it's going to be either Raynor or Ryung, maybe Raynor and Maru as well. I know that Maru's best matchup is TVT, but he did look a little bit shaky in his previous match. Quickly double checking, he played against Björn, right? Oh yeah, in the Crank Gathers, right? Yeah, in Crank Gathers in the Team League match, he did lose to Björn in said Team League. He did have like a lackluster performance in general in the Team League. We'll be getting into those results soon, so we can get into more details of that. But yeah, he's right now looking a little bit rough around the edges here, so we'll see. Best of luck to Ryung and Maru. Best of luck to SOS as well out of Group D. I feel like you can make an argument for anyone. I feel like the one sure thing should be Raynor though. And yeah, that's going to be happening over the next week of play. By the time we have the next PondCast, I don't think we'll have the results yet. I think it's going to be clashing with one of the groups, so there's still going to be quite a ways until we get the results from this, and we will be co-streaming the playoffs, just like last time. We'll be co-streaming those playoffs. We most likely will not be co-streaming the group stage, though, bear that in mind, as there's, of course, much more StarCraft going on, and we'll do our best to keep up with that. But the playoffs will be there for it. We'll be there. For as much of it as we can, I should say. Otherwise, the next massive piece of news that was announced less than 24 hours ago is the Blizzard Classic Cup for 2026 for next year. Bear that in mind. Now, this kind of goes along the narrative that we've been trying to weave and been trying to push, that I feel like has some substance to it, and that is that changes are being made to Blizzard that are benefiting StarCraft. And I feel like we can say that, but you can see that in the results here. You can see that in regards to the StarCraft miniatures game. You can see that in regards to the recent patch that came out as well, that we spoke about how, hey, like this is a patch that didn't really have as much influence from the Balance Council, that Blizzard themselves were taking the initiative of pushing. They were actively updating and hotfixing the patch as well, and updating all of these bugs. Likewise, we have the good communication between Blizzard and TLMC pushing together map pools as well. We have the changes being made to the StarCraft II client over on the Chinese server, with the return of NetEase and the return of the Chinese server and all of that going on. Like, again, there's been a lot that has been positive regarding Blizzard, regarding StarCraft, and it just feels kind of weird because there's been such a cloud under like the relationship between Blizzard and the community for so long at this point. Just because many years ago they did quote unquote like abandon StarCraft, like they did with Heroes before that, like they did with Warcraft 3 Reforged before that as well. And we spoke about how, like, hey, you can see the changes being made. You can see positive things. We spoke about this last year when it came to the Heroes of the Storm patch, right? Heroes of the Storm was left on maintenance mode for years, and relatively recently was provided a big patch which did actually have some balance changes, some bug fixes that did kind of revitalize the game. We saw something very similar a couple of months later, earlier this year, with Warcraft 3 Reforged, where they came out of nowhere with a balance patch, with bug fixes, with more support for the game, and then bam, here, like a month ago at this point, we had it with StarCraft II. So it looks like, especially with the acquisition of Microsoft, and we spoke about this as well, like when Microsoft did acquire Blizzard, it would take time for them to go over all of the teams, to go over the entire company, to kind of to remove people, to add their own people, to again, acquiring businesses like this, it does take time for them to kind of figure out what they want, the new direction of the company as well, what works, what doesn't work, and what they're pushing for. And it feels like finally, like, kind of the wheels are in motion when it comes to Microsoft and Blizzard kind of like pushing for supporting their games and trying to repair some bridges that were otherwise broken, right? There were a lot of burned bridges between, and it's crazy to think about. We've spoken about this before, but Blizzard for a long time was known for having a really close connection with the community, right? That was the whole point of BlizzCon. Initially, BlizzCon was like a big celebration of their games and a big celebration of the community and the fans of Blizzard as well. Like, being a Blizzard fan was a thing that you could say with like, I don't know, pride even, or that you wouldn't be ashamed of or anything like that. like Blizzard games were hype. They were quality as well. They were few and far between for good reason, and they had a good reputation. And I think it's clear at this point that over the years, like, that reputation has kind of been destroyed, and definitely there's a really weird relationship that we have now with Blizzard, where like we want support. I feel like a lot of people, they just want the bare minimum of support for StarCraft. So it feels weird to kind of have this more like hopeful look at what's happening recently with Blizzard stepping in, and it doesn't necessarily matter what like motivations are behind it. I think there are some people that are taking it further, like, yo, the Blizzard Cup is coming. That means, are we gonna get some more StarCraft? I mean, sorry, when it comes to other things on the horizon, outside of just the StarCraft miniatures game, remember that the IP was acquired. I say IP was acquired. That we had Nexon, right? Like, Nexon, they were able to acquire the IP for StarCraft to be able to construct and to be able to create their own StarCraft 2 game. Oh, sorry, I say StarCraft 2. To create their own StarCraft game. I mean, most likely it's going to be like a mobile game, or like or an RPG, or like there's a very, very, very low chance it's going to be RTS. But that doesn't matter. What matters is that Blizzard are willing to, push and produce more StarCraft games, more StarCraft content. We spoke about this when it came to the StarCraft crossover event with Hearthstone, Drew, right? Like, they had the Hearthstone event. That was earlier this year as well, where Hearthstone, they were having some StarCraft 2 heroes for a period of time. We have the StarCraft 2 crossover event that just happened like a couple of weeks ago with Diablo, right? With Diablo 4, where they had a bunch of StarCraft 2 skins. So again, like, there are things happening, like StarCraft is being pushed in other ways. In general, Blizzard games are starting to once again intermingle between each other to promote themselves, which used to be something they were amazing at, that also fell by the wayside. So yeah, there's been like a lot of positive news and a lot of positive changes, and it feels weird just because, as I was trying to get into, but kind of went on a tangent. But it feels weird just because for such a long time, I think we expect nothing. Like, we expect nothing or little from Blizzard. So to suddenly be getting more and more attention, and to see all these signs of hope as well, and these signs of improvement, and these signs of positive things happening in the gaming scene around Blizzard, it's like, and I feel like a lot of people are very like, because so many people have kind of like lost trust and been burned before, there are a lot of people that are like very tentative, and they're still very standoffish about what's happening. But yeah, overall, like, I'm relatively hopeful. I'm like, oh, these are all good things. These are all good things, and I've been talking around it. But what was announced was the Blizzard Classic Cup. If you remember, the original plan when Blizzard handed the keys to StarCraft over to ESL, was that ESL was going to be running the circuit, they were going to be running the pro scene, the esports side of things, and that Blizzard would be hosting some Legends show matches at BlizzCon. That was the original plan. And if you remember, this plan was stated at the end of 2019. That was like the plan moving forward. And we saw that, or end of 2019, beginning of 2020. And originally it was going to be like legend show matches, like inviting like, I don't know, like MC and like Parting, for example, or like Yellow and Boxer, or like MVP and ST, right? Like these like more fun show matches. In the past, BlizzCon used to be the place for the World Championship, for the World Finals, but because that was all being moved over to IM Katowice and to EPT, this is pre-EWC, of course, that was being all handed over to ESL, then BlizzCon would be more of like a fun event, more of like a show match event to kind of like showcase some of these players, maybe like some Archon mode as well. Like that's what was being promoted and pushed, and that was the idea. That was the original plan. And then COVID, right? Like, and then COVID happened and BlizzCon stopped. BlizzCon did stop for quite some time, and there was no BlizzCon. And recently, BlizzCon returned, but returned without StarCraft, without esports, right? Without esports being a bit major part of it, like it once was in the past. That was like in I think that was like this year, right? I think maybe this year was the first BlizzCon in a while, if not last year. But like BlizzCon had kind of like disappeared for an extended period of time, which is also kind of crazy to think about, and also it kind of goes in line with what we mentioned, how like it feels like Blizzard have been disconnected for a long time with their community, and losing BlizzCon was a part of that. Even the most recent BlizzCons before that, there was definitely some disconnect. Of course, don't you have phones, etc. Right? Like those, there's some yikes moments there towards the tail end coming into 2019. But now, finally, with the restructuring of Blizzard, with the focus on some of their legacy games being to the forefront once again when it comes to supporting Warcraft 3, Heroes of the Storm, StarCraft 2 as well, now they do introduce the classic Blizzard Cup. This is going to be a BlizzCon event, not for this year, for next year. Bear that in mind, for next year's BlizzCon. So we're still a years away. We're still a hell of a ways away from next year's BlizzCon. And we don't necessarily know the full details of this yet, kind of. If you were looking at Twitter, so basic, first things first, we have the Blizzard Cup. It's going to be incorporating multiple esports: StarCraft, StarCraft 2, Warcraft 3, and Heroes of the Storm. When it comes to this announcement, it's very vague, but someone leaked. Someone did leak what this was about. ZombieGrub. ZombieGrub over on Twitter actually did post an email that was sent out. And it's kind of a weird situation. Hold on, make sure that Kira has this as well. But ZombieGrub did vent her frustrations a little bit by releasing an email, or by screenshotting an email that was being sent around regarding this.
The thing is, ZombieGrub specifically said that she didn't get that email, that somebody else got that email. So I don't even know like what the sources they are.
No, yeah. Exactly, I was just about to get into that. So the reason why I said venting her frustrations is because she did not receive this email, is because of the fact that this was given to someone else and then shown to her afterwards. But I would trust the validity of this. Like, I don't think that's in contention at all. What's important is the content of what it is, and apparently it is going to be kind of like almost what seems to be almost like a triathlon, which is interesting. An event that does incorporate all the games, and specifically it looks to be kind of like a team event where players are kind of drafted, and it sounds like it's going to be like a player for StarCraft 2, a player for players for Heroes of the Storm, players for StarCraft 2, players for Warcraft 3, players for Remastered as well, and they would be competing in a team format amongst all of these games, amongst all these esports. And ZombieGub, she was venting her frustrations, one, because she felt like this isn't suitable for BlizzCon. She felt like she expects a little bit more out of BlizzCon. I don't think I agree with that. I mean, it depends, because she doesn't explain what she wants out of BlizzCon. True, right? Like, she doesn't explain. She explains that she feels like this isn't what BlizzCon should be, but she doesn't say what she thinks it should be. I would say that, as we mentioned previously, I would not expect a StarCraft 2 BlizzCon event anymore to be like a serious tournament. That's why I started this talking about how originally the plan for BlizzCon was for it to be show matches, right? Was for it to be like legacy show matches with retired players, or maybe with some current players as well, with Archon mode, something a little bit more fun, something a little bit more laid back. So for us to theorize that maybe this new event would be something more like kind of like drafts, like clan war related, or civil war, like Castle Civil War related, or esque, I feel like kind of is in line with that, right? With something that's a little bit more fun, a little bit less serious, and a way to kind of like SC for All, a way to try to like intersplice and intermix all these different communities and have them kind of intermingle with each other, referring to StarCraft Remastered, referring to Warcraft 3, StarCraft 2, Heroes of the Storm, and have that kind of cross-pollination amongst all these games, and have people that are fans of one watch the other, right? Like that's probably the most important part, right? And that's probably what they want. What Blizzard wants out of this event is to have them cross-pollinate, is to help grow not just the games, but like interest in all those IPs and all those games together. Like that makes sense in my mind. So I'm not opposed to the idea. Like I'm fine. Like it makes sense in my mind. And again, like I wasn't expecting anything serious when it comes to like a BlizzCon event. That's why like I'm like tentatively saying that I don't necessarily agree with Zombie Girl's perspective, but I say tentatively just because she doesn't herself explain what she wanted out of BlizzCon and what she expects out of BlizzCon. Because again, like I was not expecting like a serious like 1v1 format, like single elimination brackets, like top 8 players sort of thing. Like that's kind of not what I'm expecting out of BlizzCon anymore. So yeah, it's an interesting idea. If it is going to be like these different esports coming together as almost like a triathlon sort of thing, where you have like certain players competing in one event, and then you have your own player competing in another event as well to get points for your team. Likewise, we know it's going to be a 2-day event as well, and I also say that like tentatively, like even if this again, I don't think there's any reason to believe that this email isn't real. But even if it is, I will say that because it's a year away, it's very possible that they will change it, right? It's very, very possible that there's no reason not to believe that, hey, an event that's happening a year from now, they decide to change some of the details, right? They decide to change some of the details, change kind of like how the event works, how the format works, and move things around. It's a year away. Like it's in a year's time, baby. So there's definitely a lot of room for them to go over the event, to change the event, to refine the event. I'm not opposed to the idea of it being like this kind of like draft kind of format, or I'm not opposed to the idea of kind of incorporating all these esports into one event. I think it sounds fun. I think it's probably going to be a good thing. I feel like there can be a lot of excitement around it as well. But we'll see. We'll see what comes to it. We'll see what comes of it. It's still a year away. Still a year away. But again, there is like a lot kind of surrounding it. But yeah, there is a lot surrounding the events, and yeah, this was only announced less than 24 hours ago. So do consider looking it up, do consider checking it out. But it does sound good. True, at some point Blizzard would just this company that was nice cinematics for me at least, and it was really sad that it came to that. Yeah, pretty much. I feel like a lot of old like WoW fans accepted that as well. Like I'm pretty sure there's a big community of like ex WoW players that no longer play WoW that just watch all the WoW cinematics like in compilations in YouTube to find out what an expansion was about. Like there's a lot of those like edited videos, which is like basically all the WoW cinematics of the expansion all just put together in a video, and you can just watch it all. You just and you're like, okay, I experienced the expansion instead of just playing through it as well. Just in regards to the state of Blizzard in recent times. But with that is going to be the end of our current news of the week, and now we can get into tournaments. Now we can get into tournament results instead. Here we go. First, we do have the Chijik Evo Complete Mang Russell Cup. We did actually go over this last time. I believe we had already concluded the round of 16 and quarterfinals, and now we concluded the round of 16 and quarterfinals, and now we have confirmation of the champion, of the winner of the event, of the top 4. As a reminder, this is an event for amateur players, so the big top pros were not a part of this event. This is for up-and-comers. It is a way to kind of garner interest in StarCraft Evolution, to support the up-and-coming amateur scene, and give them a reason to compete, give them a reason to improve as well. And in the end, we did have a Korean Terran player win the entire tournament, 4-1 over Kaskar. Quickly checking here, what does their name translate to? Shipon Keiku. Chiffon cake, lovely. It was on my cake. So congratulations, wins 4-1, sorry, over Kasker. So very well done, congratulations. Again, there are a lot of players here that I'm just a little bit unfamiliar with, just because they are more amateur players that don't necessarily compete in many tournaments. But the idea here is that to help foster the amateur scene, help foster growth, and help kind of push people into improving, into competing, and looking to strive even further here as well. So congratulations here to Cake, or Chiffon Cake, for winning the event. And of course, a shout out to, hold on, What's his name translate to? Shout out to Gobomi, for winning a chicken burger and a coffee combo. Or chicken and coffee combo. There you go. As that was for the players that didn't quite make it to the top 4. That was for the top 8 players. They had their own little bracket that they competed in. And yeah, they were able to compete for a chicken and coffee combo and also a burger combo. I will say that chicken and coffee is a weird combination. That's because in my mind, like coffee is like a breakfast thing. I'm assuming chicken is like fried chicken, like Korean fried chicken with coffee for breakfast? Question mark? Like what? Like what are we? What's going on? What kind of meal are we bringing? Is this meant to be dinner? Is it meant to be lunch? Like what's happening? when do you have Korean fried chicken and coffee together? It's just a really weird combination. It's really okay. That's fine. It's fine. It's amazing. Maybe it's meant to be like a day meal, right? You have the coffee for the morning, and then you have the chicken for the evening. There you go. But with that, that leads us into our amateur events. That leads us into the Amateur League Weekly Tournament number 143. Up next, we do have the Initiate Tournament. This is for those that are between the leagues of Bronze and Platinum. Here, looks like signups were a little bit lean this week. We did have Mimo Mojo take down our Artismo 3-0. So congratulations here to Mimo Mojo for claiming that win. Again, unfortunately, a little bit lower when it comes to the signups this week. Up next, we have the Veteran Edition, which is Diamond 3 to Diamond 2. I should also mention that these are weekly tournaments for amateur leagues. Each kind of like MMR range has its own tournament, just as an explanation. So this is for those between the leagues of Diamond 3 and Diamond 2. More signups here. We did have some more regulars as well. And we had Smite Steel UA, a player that I don't think I've seen in this bracket before, but he does claim the tournament 3-2 over Zui, I'll say. Don't know if that's like a Polish word or a Polish name. Like I see a W and a Z next to each other, so I assume Polish. But Smite Steel does claim the win at 3-2 over Zui. Congratulations. Did get knocked down initially, but does win in the rematch. I'm going to take her as silence in saying that that's probably not a Polish name. Maybe it is.
I'll be honest, I have no idea, but it looks like something you would write in Polish as like onomatopoeia. Yeah. It looks like a Polish onomatopoeia. That's what I would say.
Okay. But congratulations to Smite Steel. Congratulations. That leads us into the Prestige Weekly. This is for those between the leagues of Diamond 1 and Masters 2. Here we have more regulars. We had Medic Jr. actually. I don't think I've seen him compete in many of these. Medic Jr. does take down Battle Beast, takes down Steez, takes down Defiance, and does win in the rematch against Steez 3-1. Congratulations here. Congratulations to the Medic Jr. Also, a mind explosion in the chat. You're an animal. you're an animal, Bobby. You're an animal. That leads us into the Ice Town as well. You're God damn it. That leads into the Elite Weekly, and it's just been a while since we've had some actual competition here. The first time in a long time, no walkover win. It is going to be Ledlix, Sexy Fox, and Azura facing off here in a double elimination bracket. In the end, Ledlix takes down Azura 2-1. Sexy Fox gets a walkover over Azura, and then Ledlix gets a win 3-0 over Sexy Fox. Congratulations to Ledlix. GG, some actual competition. Let's go. GG well played. That leads us into our next big event. That was the Yamato Cup number 3. This is a monthly event for those that are below the MMR ranges of 5k. So 5k MMR and below, that is going to be low GM, high masters and below. Here we do have Mathematics. So Matrix, he does take down Furious 2-0, takes down Cos Phoenix, does fall to Dizzy Dwarf. Dizzy Dwarf, he used to be a regular player in our tournaments in Masters 1 Open and also in the Amateur League Weeklies, but I believe he is no longer eligible. I believe he is no longer eligible for our tournaments at least. So he's kind of risen through the ranks, and now finally he has a tournament to compete in. That's why we haven't seen him in our events or in the other amateur events in quite some time, as he has since leveled up. So it takes down Mathematics 2-0, and then does win in the rematch 3-2. Went all the way to the ace match. So we did have a big back and forth here between our two Polish players, but in the end, Dizzy Dwarf does claim the win. GG, congratulations. And again, this is a monthly tournament, and we'll see if we get those same returning players. We'll see if Dizzy Dwarf can come back, if he's still within the requirements of the event as well, right? Once you exceed 5k, no longer are you eligible. So best of luck. Best of luck here to Dizzy Dwarf. Congratulations. That leads us into the Yuffie Cup at Prestige level. Oh, okay. A tournament that I have not seen before, but is organized by Allison LT, by some of the other regular admins, which I do recognize. Looks like this is an open cup divided into elite level and prestige level. Prestige level is limited to players below the masters rank. Okay, so that is for diamond and below. So this is for diamond players and below. Here we did have the prestige events. We have Primeson. Primeson does fall to his opponent 3-0 in the finals. Let's double check what. Guangxi Sao de Shanqi. The fun fact: the name for the winner of this tournament translates to warrior who loves taking baths. He's clean, but you know what? It says warrior who loves taking baths is the direct translation. I wouldn't be surprised if that's like slang for like washed. like like that sounds like a StarCraft ID, like someone that's called like washed warrior or something, like washed, like that's yeah. That makes sense. That Rainer, did Rainer play? Did he? Oh no. Smooch, papi, smooch. But congratulations to our very clean competitor here. Does take down all of his opponents, 2-0 in the semifinals and 3-0 in the grand finals. So congratulations. Does win the prestige event, again for those that are diamond and below. But that leads us into the elite level tournament. This is for GMs and master players. And we do have some notables, some regulars that we are familiar with here. Whoa, I have not seen Sheep in quite some time. Wait, what? Oh. Right, Ultimate ID, Lemon. That is not Sheep. God damn it. So that's Lemon. Okay, that makes sense. So Lemon, he does take down Novico 2-0, takes down his opponent in the quarterfinals, takes down Qingming 2-0, and takes down Cyan Lancer 3-1 in the grand finals. Congratulations to Lemon. Bearing in mind that I would say, yeah, he's probably the strongest player in the region when it comes to Taiwan and China, alongside Hong Kong as well. I saw Joey, unfortunately, not our Go-Go Joey, a different Joey here, but Lancer, he does go on a deep run himself, taking down Latte, taking down Jolo Loves, and Joey before falling to Lemon in the grand finals. Really cool to see the amount of participation as well. We speak about this all the time, but the Chinese scene has always been very vibrant. There's just a lot of players here, a lot of competition, a lot of tournaments, a lot of attention and care, especially to the amateur up-and-coming scene in the Chinese region, which is why it's even that much more important for them to get their server back, because there are so many Chinese players that are willing to compete and play and to actively take part in these events, more so than the other regions, to be honest. Like, it's a little bit sad, but like, think of this elite event. Think of it as almost like an open cup, right? It's like, because not all the players that competed here are GM and masters. This is I should say that players that are lower league, I mean, they can play in this if they want to. The other event was limited, but this event, I believe, like, you can be diamond and still play as well. But even if not, like, this is still a lot of really high signups of masters players. You don't really see this in Water TV Mondays or Pigstar Cups or any open cups like that. It's quite rare to get too many other signups outside of pro players. Here, the majority are amateur and only a handful are pro. And we see this a lot in Sunrise Cup as well. And like, there's a lot of money on the line here. I mean, hey, look at the tournament. Top 30 gets $20. Right? Top 30 gets $20. Top 16 as well, right? Like, top 8 gets 50. Like, this is $1,300 prize pool. Like, that's crazy. So it's really cool to see the amount of participation in this event. It's something you don't really see in other regions as much. I say as much, you do see it like in like the Brazilian region, for the Brazilian only tournaments. You used to see it in the Latin American only tournaments as well. But like nowadays, when it comes to the Open Cups, like often it's quite rare to see many amateur players of this amount compete and sign up. So yeah, it's definitely something impressive and something to strive for as well when it comes to the other regions, for sure. That leads into the Kirktown chat brawl number 9. This is a more sporadic event that Dave Testa does run on a very irregular basis. Basically, whoever's around, he reaches out to whoever responds. He'll be like, yo, play. I'm going to run a tournament like in 10 minutes. Like, okay, let's go. And here in this event, we had Gref. Gref, he does counter rush his way to the finals, takes down Reaper 2-0. Reaper, he was off racing as Protoss. Inexorable was around. He takes down Patches 2-0, Havertz 2-0, and takes down Gref 2-1 in the finals. Congratulations to Inexorable. Again, these events, these chat brawls are just a little more sporadic. That Dave just kind of pieced together here every now and then. GG. GG, well played. Hashtag washed warrior, yes. It's beautiful. That leads us into the event that we were discussing previously, the Crank Gather Season 2 team event, or pro team event. This was a week-long tournament last week. Does feature the 6 best teams in the world for StarCraft II, featuring Basilisk, Shopify, Streamer Zone, Team Falcons, Team Liquid, and Team Vitality. 6 teams, a week-long of StarCraft. It was amazing. It was beautiful. We casted every single match, every single series. I believe we're the only English stream to cover all of the events. I think Wardy is still behind. Wardy, I think he's still covering like the group stage or something. Like, he's still working his way through the event. So again, if you want to check out the VODs, they're all on our YouTube channel, so I do highly recommend it. When it comes to the preliminary stage, we had Basilisk. They took down Streamer Zone 4-0 in a dominant showing. Now, what's important about this event is that it is Pro League format, old school Pro League format. What that means, it is a best of 5 in the preliminary stage, but made and constructed of best of 1s. So we have all these best of 1s, as opposed to WTL, which was similar, but had best of 2s instead of best of 1s. So kind of a different format with WTL. Here, this is more old school. What is even more exciting, though, one, full map pool of TLMC 21 maps. True. Full map pool of TLMC 21 maps. And likewise, 2v2s were also a part of this as well. Now, one big criticism that I had was there was only one 2v2 map. That was disappointing. It was just the same map over and over and over again, especially in a series which incorporates multiple 2v2 matches. It would be nice if there were multiple maps, like 2 or 3 at least. Didn't have to be too many, but it would have been nice to have featured something else, a different map for that 2v2 portion. So it is a bit of a shame that the only one map was chosen, but overall here it was we had Basilisk take down Streamer Zone in that initial series. Really cool to see Nightmare and SOS coming together. There are some players in the scene that are very experienced with 2v2, players like Trigger, Clem, Harston, Lambo, Seoul as well, very experienced. There are others that are less so, specifically the Koreans, right? The Koreans, they are very inexperienced when it comes to 2v2, referring to Nightmare, SOS. For this duo, for example, we'll get into the others. But when it comes to the 2v2 circuit that Uthermal ran, it was very rare to see any of the Koreans really take much interest. I think we had like 2 teams. We had Ryung and Gumiho, and we had Byun and Percival. I think those are the only Korean duos ever in those tournaments. I don't think we ever had like a Solar playing with Bunny, or like a Rogue and Bunny, or like a Maru and Zaun, or Creator and Bunny, or anything like that. Like there was no other duos that really were interested from the side of Korea, and that hurts them here because they are less experienced, and these points do matter. So this is where the more foreigner European kind of player base had the advantage in said 2v2s. That led us into Team Liquid versus Shopify. Here we had Clem versus Lambo, Cure versus Byun, and of course Clem did take down Lambo, Cure took down Byun, a big win there for Cure. I mean, that was a more intense TVT. We had Harambo, Harsam and Lambo. They're one of the best duos in 2v2 in this tournament specifically, I would say. They take down Cure and Skillus. Harsam takes down Skillus in the 1-0, and then went all the way to the ace match. Cure taking down Byun 1-0, 2-0 in total here. Cure showcasing his prowess in TVT. Team Liquid, they barely edged it out over Shopify. Then we had the final series of the preliminary stage, which was Team Vitality and Team Falcons. We spoke earlier how Maru, he's been looking a little bit more rough around the edges. We saw that here as well. Rogue took down Zaun. Bunny took down Ryung. We had Bunny and Rogue, who as a duo did improve quite heavily throughout the course of the tournament. I was very impressed with their growth. They took down Maru and Ryung as a double Terran duo, and then we had Solar taking down Maru as well in that best of 1 clean sweep out of Team Falcons. Very nicely done, very impressive. I will say that the game on Old Republic was very back and forth. We did see that Solar, he was able to gain back control. Maru was being hyper aggressive, and Maru, he was trying to be hyper defensive on 4 bases. But we speak about this all the time. The Old Republic, it is very difficult to turtle up, and we saw that Solar was able to knock him down time and time again. Get a very intense back and forth, but Solar did come out on top, and again, Team Falcons did take down Team Vitality. Now, here in the preliminary stage, the way this format works is that the winners did advance on to the playoffs immediately. So Basilisk, Team Liquid, and Team Falcons all got seeded into those playoffs. Meanwhile, Streamer Zone, Shopify, and Team Vitality got taken to the group stage where only one of those three teams would advance on into the playoffs. Speaking of, we have the group stage. We had the group stage here. We had Shopify versus Streamer Zone. Shopify did take down Streamer Zone 4-0. Lambo took down Nightmare. Beyond took down Jumi. Harambo once again took down Nightmare and SOS, showcasing their 2v2 skill. And we had Harsum taking down Geralt as well. So a very strong showing here from Shopify. They get the 4-0 win. And then I would say we had a crazy upset. This was brutal. Like Team Vitality, they have a good roster. Streamer Zone, who was the weakest team in the league, they 4-0 Team Vitality. This was crazy. Lunacy with the first win of his Zound. He had a cheeky build, is what I will say. Like Lunacy, he was able to get one over on Zound. Very impressive. He kind of set the tone for the series. And Geralt took down Maru on 10,000 feet. If you remember, Maru went for an all-in. Maru, he went for a 2-base all-in. It failed. Geralt, he barely held on, and Maru, he had no follow-up. He just kept going for pushes. He stayed on 2 bases. He never expanded. He never was able to build up. And over time, he just ran out of steam, and Geralt took that win. Then we had Nightmare and SOS in the 2v2 versus Ryung and Zaun. Previously, it was Ryung and Maru in the 2v2. And Maru, he was kicked out of the 2v2 roster. He was, and then we had Ryung and Zan instead. We had a bit of this was a series that had a lot of banter. I don't know if you remember this, but there was a lot of banter between Ryung and SOS. Like there was a lot of typing in the chat throughout the entire game, and there was a lot of typing from Ryung in the chat against Nightmare as well. Like there was like there was a lot of banter, a lot of typing. I wasn't able to translate everything, of course, as they were typing so much. But in the end, Nightmare and SOS, they win the 2v2, and Nightmare takes down Ryung in the 1v1 as well. So big win there for Streamer Zone. Crazy win for the Protoss team. If you notice, Streamer Zone, pure Protoss. Pure team of Protoss. That leads us into the final game, as this was a round-robin group stage. Shopify versus Team Vitality. This is when finally Team Vitality do step up. They finally stepped up. They stepped up to the plate here. We had Zaun versus Lambo. Zaun takes down Lambo 1-0. We had Beyond versus Maru. Beyond takes down Maru 1-0 himself. So Beyond comes on top. Then we had Team Harambo. No surprises here. They win the 2v2. I guess as we mentioned, Harambo, like Harsum and Lambo, they're one of the stronger 2v2 teams in the league. If not the strongest, actually. They come out on top there over Maru and Zaun. We had Ryung taking down Scarlet on Andromeda 1-0, went all the way to the ace match. 2-2 went all the way to the ace match. It came down to the ace match. No surprise when it comes to the Shopify team pick. That was Björn. So Björn, he came out as the ace player for Shopify, and Team Vitality, I assumed they would try to snipe Björn. They did. They went for Ryung. Ryung has some killer TVT, better TVT than Maru. But despite that, in the best of one, anything can happen, and Björn did come out on top of Ryung 1-0, just barely knocking Team Vitality out of the team league. So Streamer Zone is out, Team Vitality is out, Shopify is in, and that led us into the playoffs. Oh boy, here we go. Let's into the playoffs here. Now, when it comes to the playoffs, there were some unfortunate truths that occurred. We'll get into it. First things first, we have the upper bracket semifinals. Basilisk versus Shopify. Do you notice something when it comes to lineups? First things first, best of 9, not a best of 5. So the series, the format did change coming into the playoffs with much, much longer matches or much longer series. Lambo wasn't available. Lambo, he was not available to compete. That's why you can see he was not a part of the lineup at all for Shopify. And this does weaken one of their biggest strengths, which was the 2v2. Remember, again, Harsum and Lambo, they are arguably the best 2v2 team in this league specifically. Like, there are better duos than them, but they're not in this tournament. And they were not able to compete in the playoffs. They excelled. They got a lot of points for themselves. If it wasn't for their 2v2s, like, they would not have made it through the group stage. 100%. They would not have made it through. They would not have advanced on. So that's something that they were lacking here in the playoffs. Seoul took down Harsum. Raynor took down Björn as well in the initial matches. Then we had the 2v2, Seoul and Trigger. Very strong 2v2 team. Again, Trigger has a lot of experience in 2v2. So does Seoul. They're not necessarily with each other, but because of the individual experiences, they're able to work together well enough. I would say they were maybe the strongest duo in this playoffs bracket. They take down Bjorn and Harsum as they did try to work together for the first time. Scarlet took down Trigger. That was a big win for Scarlet. She began the comeback for Shopify, getting the one and only win in this series as Trigger takes down Harsum. And then we had Cyril and Trigger win the 2v2 over Harsum and Scarlet. And in the end, Basilisk get the 5-1 win over Shopify. Not saying that if Flamble was here, that would have necessarily allowed Shopify to win. But again, 2v2 is a big part of this, and the 2v2 lineups were a lot weaker coming into the playoffs, which is a bit of a shame. That led us into Team Falcons versus Team Liquid. We had a closer back and forth between these two. We had Rogue taking down Mana in the initial best of one. We had Clem taking down Solar, so we had a back and forth, tied 1-1 scoreline. Then we had the 2v2s. We had Bunny and Rogue. I mentioned before that they were looking very impressive in the group stage as a duo, and that impression continued, or that impressiveness continued here as well. They did leave an impression. Bunny and Rogue, they take down Clem and Mana in the initial best of 2v2. Then we had Cure taking down Bunny. Again, Cure has some killer TBT, does take down Bunny. Rogue takes down Cure in the following match. Clem and Mana get their revenge. If you remember, what was happening in these matches is that Bunny and Rogue were being hyper greedy, and Clem and Mana started cheesing. They started being hyper aggressive, started punishing the greed of Bunny and Rogue. They had Clem over Bunny, and then Mana over Solar. That was a big win for Mana, by the way, a big upset as well. And with that, Team Liquid take down Team Falcons. If Solar had won that series over Mana, had won that game, they would have gone to the ace match. Could have gone either way. That was a big win here for Team Liquid. That leads us into the upper bracket finals, Basilisk versus Team Liquid. Here we had a strong showing here by Basilisk. Trigger takes down Mana 1-0. Cyril takes down Cure 1-0. Cyril and Trigger, they take down Clem and Mana. The initial series, as mentioned, like they are, I would say, the best duo in the playoffs. Cyril and Trigger, I mean. Raynor takes down Clem, a big win there for Raynor. Then Clem won the rematch against Raynor right after that, so they did have their own little back and forth. Cyril, they get the 2v2 win over Clem and Mana, and that is how they win 5-1. Dominant showing by Basilisk in the upper bracket finals. When it comes to the lower brackets, we did have, again, double elimination. Team Falcons versus Shopify. Here, we spoke earlier about some unfortunities here. I mean, that doesn't really apply here. We'll get into it for the next series. We had Rogue. Rogue takes down Scarlet 1-0 initially. We had Solar over Bjorn. Big win there for Solar, as Bjorn is the ace player of Shopify. Without Bjorn, I mean, again, Shopify, they need their ace to kind of bring it back, and he wasn't able to. Then we had the 2v2. We spoke about Bunny and Rogue. Very impressive. I was favoring Harsum and Lambo, but Bunny and Rogue, they win the initial best of one. Big win here for Team Falcons to win the 2v2. Bunny and Rogue, they've been becoming better and better as a duo. Bunny takes down Lambo 1-0. Bjorn takes down Bunny 1-0, getting the first win for Shopify. Then we had Harambo taking down Bunny and Rogue in the rematch. So again, Harsum and Lambo, they get their revenge. But in the end, it all did end with Rogue taking down Lambo in that final best of one. Team Falcons knocked Shopify out of the tournament. They did knock them out. That led us into the lower bracket finals. That led us into Team Liquid versus Team Falcons. Also a very close, very clutch series. Solo took down Mana. Clem took down Bunny with his Protoss. Then we had the 2v2. Clem and Mana, they said it themselves in the winners interview that they were getting better over time. They were improving as a 2v2 team. They took down Bunny and Rogue initially. We spoke earlier how they started cheesing. That continued here. They started cheesing. They started being hyper aggressive. Rogue takes down Cure. Rogue takes down Mana as well. Rogue putting a lot of points on the board here for his team. Clem and Mana, they win once again in the 2v2. They do take down Bunny and Rogue. Clem takes down Bunny once again, and Cure takes down Solar. As the series to continue, of course, we had Bunny and Rogue. They do get their revenge. They get one game over Clem and Mana. Just one, but then Cure and Clem, they clean it up, taking down Bunny and taking down Rogue in those rematches. So GG well played. Team Liquid, they do win the series over Team Falcons 7-4, and that went all the way to the grand finals. Grand finals rematch even. We had Basilisk over Team Liquid initially 5-1, but here we had a very different result. And I would say that a big reason for that is because one of the players was unavailable. If you're looking at the lineups here, if you're looking at who was competing, you should notice something. There's Cyril for Basilisk, there's Cyril, there's Raynor, and there's Rotterdam. Rotterdam had to compete. Why is that? Trigger was not available. He was not available. Trigger, if you remember, he was traveling to SC for All. He was traveling to the Americas. So Trigger, he was not available to compete in the grand finals. So Basilisk, they couldn't field their best team. They couldn't field their best roster. And losing Trigger here is a big blow, especially because we mentioned earlier the best duo, the best 2v2 team in the playoffs were Serral and Trigger. They were the best team. And in the winners interview, Clem even admitted it. He was like, "Hey, if Trigger was there, I don't think we would have won the 2v2s." Like it was not looking too good here. But without Trigger, that is where they were at their weakest. On top of that, Rotterdam, I mean, he's a GM, that's true, but he's not quite at the level of Trigger. So Trigger would also, I mean, in the 1v1s as well, he would also have been a better asset. We've seen Trigger take it to Maru, we've seen Trigger take it to the best players in the world. So he would have been a valuable asset there for Basilisk as well. So Basilisk, they were fighting with only 2/3 of their real roster, unfortunately, in the finals. So Serral, he starts things off with a win over Cure. Serral takes down Cure 1-0. Clem takes down Rotterdam 1-0. That, again, more to be expected. We have Clem and Mana winning the 2v2 over Raynor and Serral. Again, Raynor and Serral, they're much inexperienced playing together in 2v2s, Raynor especially, so they were a lot weaker in that kind of matchup. Raynor takes on Mana 1-0. We start things off tied 2-2. Not bad. We are tied up 2-2. Then we get into the next match. Mana takes down Rotterdam 1-0. So Mana does get the win over Roddy. We have Clem and Mana once again winning the 2v2s against Raynor and Serral. Once again, they have been struggling in that 2v2 matchup. Clem takes down Raynor in a very intense TVZ. So big win there for Clem. Serral takes down Cure 1-0. Then we had another 2v2 match. This time, Raynor played Zerg. I glossed over it. Raynor, he was playing Protoss previously. He was playing Protoss in the previous 2v2s. He switched to Zerg for double Zerg. Raynor and Serral, they finally do get a win in the 2v2s. And then Clem takes down Serral 1-0. A very intense game on Tourmaline. Very intense, with Serral cutting corners, skipping Banelings, going Ling Hydra, and Clem punishing Serral being greedy quite heavily, gaining a lead and maintaining control on Tourmaline. And it all ended with Cure versus Rotterdam. Cure does get the win over Rotterdam 1-0 to win the entire tournament. GG, well played. Congratulations to Team Liquid. Unfortunately, again, they played against a weakened and a weaker Basilisk just because there was no Trigger. Again, like, replace Trigger with Roddy here, and also replace Raynor with Trigger in the 2v2s. There's a very high chance that they win the 2v2s over Clem and Mana. I favor Trigger over Mana as well in the 1v1, and I can see Trigger taking it to Cure as well, and even to Clem. Like, obviously, I would say that Clem and Cure are probably favored over Trigger, but he has, like, a chance here to take it to them more so than Rotterdam. Shout out to Rotterdam, by the way. He is more of a caster and content creator, but hey, he stepped up when his team needed him, right? Like his team, they needed another player to compete in this tournament, and Rotterdam, he did step up to the plate to carry that kind of mantle to represent his team. It isn't ideal, of course, but he was able to do that, was able to pull it off. So again, much respect here to Rotterdam to step up for Basilisk. And in the end, Team Liquid, they win the series and they win the rematch to become the champions of the CranKy Gather Season 2. Team Liquid, they crown themselves as the best team in StarCraft II. GG, well played to Team Liquid. They do claim it in the end. Congratulations. Shout out to Basilisk. Shout out to all the other top teams, Shopify, Team Falcons, and also the other teams that got knocked out, like Streamer Zone and Team Vitality as well. Again, it's a little bit bittersweet. It's a little bit of a shame that Trigger wasn't available to compete for Basilisk, but regardless, in the end, congratulations to Team Liquid. Congratulations. They do win the event. When it comes to what this event means, once again, this event was live streamed on Chijik. It was not live streamed in English. It was casted via replays in English, so we casted it. Wardy's been covering it, and I think he's still covering some of it as well. Like, he's still working through the event. And Chijik, they've been sponsoring a lot recently, right? We just covered an SC Evo event that they've sponsored, right? With Mang Russell. They sponsored the Mang Russell event. They sponsored the Murloc King events. They sponsored Lima League. Throughout the course of the year, they've been investing quite heavily into StarCraft Evolution and into StarCraft II tournaments and show matches. And it's been a little bit sporadic. Like, it's always something different, it feels. Like, sometimes it's a Team League match like this. Sometimes it's a weekly Open Cup. Sometimes it's SC Evo. Sometimes it's an Invitational. So it's been a different format each time. But I believe that they're getting a lot for it, right? Like, CranKy always gets main space, like, priority, front page priority whenever events like this are run. He's able to introduce people to StarCraft, able to get a lot of viewership as well, and reignite interest in the Korean scene. We even had the VTuber show match, if you remember, where Crank and Top, they each kind of had their own lineup of VTuber streamers, and they taught them how to play StarCraft, and they had a show match between them, like a quote unquote like team show match, Crank versus Top, like who's the better coach essentially, who can teach these VTubers how to play StarCraft more as they played against each other in a tournament, things like that, right? Like things of this nature. Chijik, they clearly have interest in supporting Crank specifically and Crank's endeavors, and Crank of course is committed and invested in StarCraft, so it all comes hand in hand. And hopefully like this has been successful enough to garner another season, another league, or maybe another tournament, a different format. Regardless, like Chijik, they've been investing a lot. I'm sure they're very happy with it. Again, like we've been seeing Crank with like top viewers, with number one streamer on Chijik every time one of these events does occur. He gets a lot of viewership, he gets a lot of attention, and hopefully that continues. Hopefully that continues, and their relationship is able to grow from there. Their partnership is able to grow from there. So much love to Chijik, and also best of luck to Crank in his future endeavors. And I hope that everything went well, and I hope that we get to see another one of these events in the future. We don't have WTL anymore, so this is the next best thing. This is the next thing that we've had since WTL. It's been so long, and I did scratch that itch, and I want more of this. You know, give us more. GG. GG, well played. And with that, congratulations to Team Liquid. That leads us into our regional events. Oh boy. Leads us into our regionals. That leads us into the Amantes de StarCraft number 42. This is a bi-weekly tournament. This is a monthly. This is a monthly tournament for all things Brazilian StarCraft. Here we did have Master. Master, I mean, he is the best Protoss player in all of Brazil, arguably the best Protoss player in all of Latin America. Takes down Dominoco, takes down Inexorable, takes down Kamikaze 4-0. Something that I will say though is that surprisingly, Inexorable didn't make it to the finals. Kamikaze caused an upset here. 3-2 over Inexorable. Very, very impressive win here for Kamikaze. As Kamikaze, he was always like kind of second fiddle, like he was always in an Inexorable shadow. But for him to beat him in a TBT is very impressive, and that shows a lot of growth for Kamikaze. GG. GG will play. Congratulations to Kamikaze. Does make it to the finals, of course. Did fall to Master, but had an impressive road to get to the finals nonetheless. So GG will play. In the end, Master does take the win. That leads us into the Legacy Weekly Japan number 478 Open. Where is my Tapioca? There he is. Tapioca gets his revenge. If you remember, he did not win the previous tournament. I believe that was Noah Shirayuki. I believe they were able to win the event last week. This is an open tournament for the Japanese scene, and Tapioca, Boba even, does take down Vaishravanya 2-0 and takes down the Kaiman 2-0 as well in the finals. GG. Congratulations to Tapioca. Has quickly become our favorite and the best player in Japan. GG. GG, well played. Este Tapioca. That leads us into the Monkey Anonymous Cup number 1. Here we go. We've had events like this before. This is organized by what looks to be 3D.LAN. They were the main casters of the event. And this event was run with all the players being barcodes essentially when they were competing. Of course, you can see them being revealed here, but the advantage of being a barcode, the advantage of having an anonymous name, means that you do have certain styles, you have certain tendencies, but that is removed once you step into the ring, once you play, once you get into the game. So that is something that's taken away from your opponent, is knowing how you play just because they don't know who you are. Likewise, always a lot of fun for the viewers to kind of like to watch and to have a bit of a guess as to who's competing. We did have that with the Anonymous Cup. It was a lot of fun. There are some players that are a little bit more obvious than others. Players like Shameless, for example, can be more obvious. Players like Nicaract as well, just because of their style, just because of their tendencies. But regardless, GG will play. GG Machine takes down Art 2-1, takes down Yan Yakov 2-1, takes down Nicaract 2-1, but he does fall in the rematch. Este Nicaract takes down Art, takes down GG Machine to win the entire event. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Nicaract for coming out on top, winning, or for being the anonymous monkey. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations. That leads us to the Return to Serve Cup. I believe Return to the Server Cup is what that's meant to be leading to.
But this is I think this is maybe that is related to the server, but I think that's the play on words on the Immortal line. With Immortal says return. I return to save. When it
maybe. I mean, it could be both. Could be both. Here.
That's what I mean.
as I mean, it says right here, it's an amateur competition to welcome the return of StarCraft II Chinese server. Yeah, I say, as we assumed, it was a play on words of the return of the Chinese server, so it's a big celebration here, and it is for amateur players. It is MMR restricted and MMR based. So geez, that's a lot of games. And again, we just spoke about this when it came to the previous tournaments, that was Chinese based, about how much signups and how much attention and how many players do compete, even if they're not pro players, and that is just not really seen elsewhere. I should say it's seen, but in niche communities like the Brazilian community, like the Latin American community, but not really seen amongst many others. So really cool to see, like, again, more amateur players stepping up, competing, signing up, and taking part in this major event. The return of the Chinese server, of course, big event here happening in China, and again, when it comes to the group stage, I mean, it's a little bit more amateur based, so it's hard to kind of guess and hard to kind of predict like who would make it through and who would do well for themselves. But regardless, shout out to the top performing players in this event. I see Nirvana, true Nirvana, GYT. I see Blue Star, will be a Blue Star, Davey, and some of the other players also making it through the group stage into the eventual seeded playoffs. Again, this event is going to be running throughout all of November. It actually ends in December, so it looks like it's going to take quite some time to progress through the event. But regardless, best of luck to all the top players from the groups. GG. GG, well played. As that leads us into the Sunrise Cup. Sunrise Cup number 220. This is a weekly tournament for the Chinese region. And here we have Nanami Chiaki. No surprises here. Nanami Chiaki does take down their opponents. I believe, is this Tsukino? No. What is this? Millennium Fox, that's it. Got it. I can remember. Takes down Millennium Fox 2-0. Takes down Miggy in the finals as Miggy gets a walkover win over Tsukino. That's Tsukino. So that's a little bit unfortunate. I would favor Tsukino to make it to the finals. I still favor Nanami Chiaki over Tsukino, but did forfeit in the semis. Did forfeit in the semifinals. So Miggy gets a walkover win, and Miggy does fall to Nanami Chiaki in the finals 3-0. GG, well played to Nanami. Does claim the win. Is one of the regulars. Is one of the top players in China. So GG, well played. That leads us into the Elpis Team League 2025 Fall Code A Edition. Here we go. We have Code A. We're still in the regular season. We're still working through the weeks. We're still working through the rounds. We are almost done, though, as we have completed Round 6. Round 6 has concluded. We have 4-Leaf Clover. They take down Starlight Twinkle Division 2. 5-1. Very impressive here. Xingming is the ace player, the captain for Starlight Twinkle. Did take a map. The only player to take a map. In the end, 4-Leaf Clover, they got the win, 5-1. Congratulations. Then we have a team at PTB, Team Protoss the best. They do come out on top over Rookie Warpgate. Ivy takes down Ibuki. We have Alka taking down Maple, and we have SOH taking down his opponent as well. Connect F2. Clean sweep, 6-0, big win for Protoss the best. Then we have the second Rookie Warpgate team. They do go 4-2 against Team Histon Toss. Big win here. I was favoring Pioneer over Knight, but Knight does get the win, the only win for Histon Toss. And then, of course, we have the other Rookie Warpgate players also helping to advance on. We have Methuselah alongside Moondeer. Oh, okay. Alongside Moondeer as well. So congratulations. With that, there's only one round left. One round left here for the group stage, for the round robin group stage. We have round 7. That's going to be in a couple of days. And when it comes to the overall standings, we already have confirmed that 4-Leaf Clover, Protoss the best, Starlight Twinkle, and Rookie Warpgate will make it through into the playoffs of Code A. But the overall standings can still be changed. So placing first, second, third, and fourth does matter. All comes down to that final week. Best of luck. Best of luck. That leads us into the Code S edition. We do have the Elpis Team League Code S regular season. Likewise, they just wrapped up with round 6. Here we had Starlight Twinkle over Little Fairy. Very, very impressive here. I mean, Starlight Twinkle, they're one of the stronger teams. We have Young Zest going 1-1 with Shameless. Very impressive. I was favoring Shameless there, but Young Zest, he is one of the best players in China. We had Rewhite 2-0 over Ghost Runner, and we had Triple H tied 1-1 against Ear. So Starlight Twinkle, they claim the win. That leads us into Elpis versus Toho Project. We have Lemon. Lemon takes down Daydreamer. Restart takes down his opponent. And then we have Nanami Chiaki I wish that they just use their names here. Oh, we have Nanami Shiaki taking down his opponents as well. Clean 6-0 for Elpis. Oh my god. Again, a team with Levin, a team with Nanami Shiaki. Very strong team. That leads us into Astartes. Astartes up against Kauda. Ghost takes down Latte 2-0. We get a walkover win for Heliv. And then, of course, we have a tied 1-1 score towards the end. In the end, Kauda, they do get the win over Astartes. Then we have PCEC up against Team Hist. We do have more of a back and forth here. Kingslayer tied 1-1 over. Is that Tsukinu? Let's double check. No. Oh, that's Nanyu. Ah, it's Nanyu. God. So it does get tied 1-1 with Nanyu. Nanyu does, is also a very strong Zerg player, if not one of the strongest Zerg players in China. They do tie 1-1. We do have the win, though, for PCEC with a 2-0 and then a tied 1-1 score against Number. I believe that is Millennium Fox, right? God. Trying to remember these names. Yes. Oh, I remember. As Millennium Fox is tied 1-1 with Number towards the end. That's a 4-2 score in favor of PCEC. Once again, when it comes to this group stage, top four do make it through. We have confirmation Astartes and Toho Project will not be advancing on. They're eliminated from the tournament, but the standings are still up in the air for the other teams. Starlight Twinkle is more or less confirmed. They are 6-0 without a single loss. We have Elpis just behind them as well with a 5-1 scoreline. And then things get a little bit more hazy here with PCEC, a Little Fairy, Kauda, and Hist a lot closer in their overall scores, and things can still kind of shift around and be moved back and forth. So best of luck. Best of luck to all the remaining teams for the final week of the season. Best of luck. That leads us into the Astartes and Starlight Twinkle Invitational 2025 November edition. We already had one last month, if I recall correctly, but we had a WTL format Team League tournament between Astartes and Starlight Twinkle. Now, as a reminder, this is their amateur divisions. Remember that. This is not like if we had the proper lineups, Starlight Twinkle easily they are the stronger team. But here they're featuring their amateur players instead. They're more like B-teamers. They're academy players, if you will. So as a result, a lot closer. 3-2 in favor of Astartes. GG. So GG will play Astartes. They do claim the win over Starlight Twinkle. And again, more amateur players. I'm a little bit less familiar with the strength of these players and who they are. But a fun little invitational nonetheless. A fun show match. GG will play. That leads us into the OSC tournaments, the OSC events of the week. Coming into this, we do have the OSC Elite Rising Star number 17. We casted this event this morning. This is a multi-month long event featuring up-and-coming players from all around the scene. Here we had Shameless. Shameless takes down UED Soldier 2-0. We had Demi taking down Bappy 2-0. Jumi over Art 2-0. Rebellion versus Hydra still has yet to compete as Hydra was traveling to the UK, so was unavailable. We have Percival versus Sebestus. Does take him down 2-1. Was very close. Lelix versus Mute still has to compete. Babe Marine over Nick Rat and Young Yakov over Foxer. The entirety of the round 16 did conclude, but remember, the reason why this takes multiple months to conclude is it's double elimination. Double elimination, and every series is casted. So we just covered day 2. This was the second week of this event, and there's going to be many, many more weeks to come to wrap up this tournament to crown this season's Rising Star. Coming into this, who is currently looking to be the most informed? I would say my eyes are going to be on players like Shameless, players like Percival, players like Young Yakov. I would say that Yakov and Percival would be my top 2 to pick for the finals, but they're on the same side, right? They're on the same side of the bracket, so they're going to knock each other out. Shameless, obviously a very strong player as well. I would rate him higher than Jumi, than Sebestus, than Mute, than the other Protosses. Jumi can also be a wild card, but Jumi's also been less active. Like straight up, he's just been a little bit less active. He's a little bit less informed than he was at the start of the year. So this is not like February 2025 Jumi. It's November 25 Jumi. So a little bit more rough on the edges, a little bit less practiced. But we'll see if he can redeem himself and claim the win. I know that there was a bit of an upset and he did not perform as well as he wanted in the previous OSC Elite Rising Star, considering he's a reigning champion from a previous edition. So had a bit of a lackluster performance last season. But best of luck. Best of luck to all the players involved. I do appreciate that there's at least 2 Zerg players, so at least some variety going on here in the events. Best of luck. Best of luck. That leads us into the OSC 2025 mid-season playoffs number 2. This is a big major event featuring all the best players from the online tournament circuit. Which matches did we have actually? One momento. Here we had Hearthstone. We had Hearthstone versus Skillous. Hearthstone takes on Skillous 3-1. Skillous has been looking a little bit more shaky as of late as well. There's a reason why Skillous, he wasn't competing in the Crank Gathers tournament, I feel. Maybe he was a little bit less confident or he was just unavailable. But Hearthstone does bring him down 3-1. We had Spirit taking down Geralt 3-1 as well. If you remember, Spirit has been on fire as of late. We were praising Spirit for his performances in Wardy's events recently, and he even took down Creator in this tournament as well, 3-1. So we expect Spirit to go far. I favor Spirit over Hearthstone. Cure, though, is going to be a challenge for either player. True. Big challenge. Likewise, we had Christiana versus Trigger. Christiana takes down Trigger 3-1 to advance on to low bracket round 4. Big win there for Christiana. Very nicely done. And then we had Cham versus Ryung. Cham takes down Ryung 3-2 to advance on to the lower bracket round 3 match. GG. GG, well played. I would say a big upset, a big win there for Cham, as Ryung, he is knocked out of the tournament, and we'll see if Cham can go any further, because Cham, he is the reigning OSC champ. Oh, sorry, he's the reigning runner-up from last season's season playoffs, from the last mid-season playoffs. So again, a lot of expectations for Cham, and likewise, there's still a lot of really strong matches ahead of us here. Solar versus Max Pax, Cure is still in the mix, Beyond is still in the mix, Spirit, of course, a lot of hype around him as well. A lot of really good matches. A lot of StarCraft. a lot of StarCraft going on, Pappy. Yeah, a lot of matches to come. So best of luck. As again, the mid-season playoffs is the combination of all these online tournaments. So many of these online events do provide OSC points, and they all lead towards this kind of end-of-season big invitational based on your points, based on your standings. So that's why I did mention that it was like the best from the online tournament scene. But up next, we do have another event, the Zoni Arena Free MMR number 1. A little bit less familiar with what this event is. I mean, it's the first edition. True, it's the first edition. Apparently, it is an open event for all MMR ranges. Just as a heads up, it is an open tournament, and it was covered by unknown. It might not have even been casted. Question mark? It's hard to say. But as far as we can tell, it was not casted by anyone. Interesting. But yeah, it is a new event here. It does have a decent prize pool of 50 euros. And we did have a very hefty European lineup here. We had Geralt, we had Nickrat, Shameless, Young Yakov. We had, the typical top players here from the European region facing off in the online tournament. Double elimination bracket, true, with best of ones in that lower bracket as well. And we had Geralt. So Geralt takes down Nickrat 2-1. Shameless takes down Young Yakov. Big win there for Shameless. Shameless takes down Geralt, and Shameless takes down Nickrat. Shameless only dropping a map to Young Yakov and to Flanger. GG. GG, well played. So struggling and looking a little bit weaker against Zerg, but still, of course, does win the matches and does look untouchable against Geralt and against Nickrat. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Shameless. Again, there's a reason why he's one of those players that we're looking at in the OSC Rising Elite tournament to go far, to maybe even win the entire event. GG, well played. And we don't know if this is going to be like a weekly or a monthly. It's hard to say how often this event is going to be running. Obviously, it says it's number 1, so they plan on hosting more in the future. How many more? We'll see. But it's really cool to see another regular Open Cup, or what could be a regular Open Cup. Wish them the best. Do wish them the best. As that leads us into the Wardy TV Monday number 58, your weekly Open Cup for the Wardies, or for Wardy StarCraft. Oh boy. Now, when it comes to these events, we have not been able to cover these live in recent weeks, so we're going to be covering this via replays moving forward. Bear that in mind. But here for this week, we had Nickrat popping off. Nickrat takes out Mikuka 2-1, And a big upset here as well. Clem has some of the best PvT in the world. 100% he has some of the best PvT, but he does fall to Nickrat. Nickrat, he can also be terrifying. This is his best matchup. We talk about this all the time whenever we cast him. We've seen Nickrat take down Maxfax. We've seen him take down Hero. Nickrat, he does punch up very well in TvP because he's hyper aggressive. He's hyper aggressive. He's very unpredictable at times, and Nickrat can catch players off guard, even Clem. So big win there for Nickrat. And if he was playing against Maxfax or Hero in the next round, I'd be like, yo, he can cause some more upsets. Unfortunately, he played against Bjorn. Played against a Terran, not a Protoss. And here, Bjorn pops off. Before I get ahead of myself, really good to see Gumiho. Gumiho, he has been MIA for so long. Like, he rarely plays in these events. So to see Gumiho here, feels good, man. Feels good. He goes down to Bjorn, but Gumiho's been very inactive as of late, so really cool to see more Gumiho. Bjorn takes down Gumiho. Bjorn takes down Nickrat. Bjorn does advance on to the grand finals. Likewise, speaking of inactive players, a laser. Este laser, papi. Yeah, he has also been MIA. He's been off in Age of Empires land. Like, he's he's streaming and playing a lot of Age of Empires. And it's a little bit unfortunate. That's one of the reasons why a laser. He's not on Team Liquid anymore. Remember, it happened a couple of weeks ago, if not a couple of months ago. A laser, he left Team Liquid as he no longer has been competing in StarCraft, so he's no longer an asset to them. He's been focusing a lot more on Age of Empires, but now he steps back up. And for him to take a map off of Maxfax, that is very impressive. So GG well played. Really cool to see a laser coming back, and we'll see if he returns and if he commits to StarCraft again. It'd be great to see him return, but still yet to see if this is a one-off thing or if he comes back as a regular player. So my eyes are on laser to see if we see more of him in the future. Hero takes down Shameless 2-0. Hero takes down Maxfax 2-1. Went all the way to the ace match. Speaking of, likewise, Hero goes all the way to the ace match against Bjorn as well. Goes all the way to game 5. GG well played. Hero does take down Bjorn just barely in that final game. GG well played. Congratulations to Hero. Shout out to Bjorn for making it to the finals. That leads us into the Monday Night Weeklies number 29. That leads us into, this is the typical weekly European event, and this time Clem gets his revenge. Nickrat takes down Jimmy, Clem takes down Nickrat. So Clem, he was able to get his revenge here, takes down Nickrat. Does fall to Solo. Look at Solo go here. Solo takes down Bjorn 2-1. Solo takes down Clem 2-1. Solo takes down Shameless as Shameless knocked out. Look, well, before I don't want to gloss over it. Shameless, he 2-0'd Hero. He 2-1'd Maxfax. Look at Shameless go back. The rising star, papi. Shameless, he takes down Hero. He takes down the two best Protoss players in the world. Very impressive in the PvP. Does fall to Solar in the upper bracket. And we do see Hero, he was working his way up. Hero knocks out Clem. Hero knocks out Bjorn. Hero knocks out Shameless. And for the first time in a very, very long time, Solar, he lost in the best of 5, but he wins in the best of 1. It's kind of crazy that the best of 1 is the reset match, or that the reset match is the best of 1. I feel like that should be a best of 3, at least. So, wins the best of 1, and Solar, again, when was the last time we had a Zerg player win a weekly? It's been a couple of months, unironically. Like, it's been a long time. It's been a long time, and Solar, he finally does it. He wins a weekly. Congratulations to Solar. Zerg is fixed. Kappa. Fun fact, he was one of 3 Zerg players in the tournament, but hey, goes all the way. Goes all the way. I'm sure it benefits as well from the fact that he had to win a best of 1, even though he lost the best of 5. So, congratulations to Solar. Does claim the win over Hero. Format working in his favor. And very well done. Very well done here for Solar. Congratulations. But I mean, I want to emphasize, even though like it was a close series against Hero that he won due to the best of 1, he fought hard to make it there. He beat Clem. He beat Clem in a best of 3. He beat Bjorn in a best of 3. Like, it was not an easy road to make it to the finals. So, very well done. Very impressive play there by Solar. That leads us into this week's Tunic Cup, a Sparkling Tunic Cup number 111. Here we did have Bjorn. Bjorn, he pops off, takes down Gunner 2-0. Takes down Uwu Thermal. Great to see. I mean, Uwu Thermal, I think this is maybe second time competing in our tournaments. Maybe second, maybe third. He's not a regular by any means, but yeah, Uwu Thermal, he stepped in. He stepped in. Great to see Uwu Thermal. Took down Nickrat 2-0. Yo, Uwu Thermal greater than Clem? Question mark. Uwu Thermal takes down Nickrat. He does fall to Bjorn. Likewise, Nightmare takes down Shameless. Does fall to Bjorn in the finals. Bjorn does claim the win 3-1 over Nightmare. Congratulations to Bjorn. Congratulations, as Bjorn does claim the win. That leads us into Big Sur Cup number 56, your weekly open cup for more NA-oriented StarCraft, or NA time zone, I should say. Here we had Hero. Hero takes out Milky Cat 2-0. Hero takes out Creator 3-1 to advance on to the grand finals. Here we had Max have a very close, very clutch series against Solar, very back and forth. We did cover that match ourselves. Very intense. In the end, to take it. I don't want to gloss over this. Green Earth gets a I would say does cause an upset, does cause a big upset, takes out Nickrat in the first series. That was a crazy win for Green Earth. I wish I casted that series. I know that the admins were looking for those replays to share to the other casters. Crazy win there for Green Earth. Very impressive. Very impressive. GG well played. That leads us into the grand finals. Hero versus MaxPax in the grand finals. Hero takes on MaxPax 3-1. I believe for the second time this tournament. Oh, sorry, this week. As if I'm not mistaken, I believe Hero also did defeat MaxPax in the previous Monday Night Weekly. During the best of one formats. Correct? Or Monday Night Weekly. No, sorry, it wasn't Monday Night Weekly. It was the right, that's it. Awarded TV Monday. So he beat him in Awarded TV Monday. He beat him in the Big Cup as well. So Hero having the better of MaxPax in recent PvPs in this week. So congratulations to Hero for claiming the win. Congratulations. That leads us into the Wardy TV October number 2025. I believe last time we were discussing the group stage, and I think we finished the group stage, right? Did we cast it all? Sorry, did we talk about all of the matches? I think so. Yes. We were able to. Yeah. So we were able to discuss all the groups. But the playoffs, that was in more recent times. Did we have predictions? I think I was favoring. Oh no, yeah, we did. I was thinking Rogue versus Hero. That's it. I was thinking of Rogue versus Hero in the finals. Fun fact: Rogue gets knocked out by Gumiho. That's a big win for Gumiho. Remember, we just spoke about how Gumiho has been very inactive. He's been very inactive as of late. So my expectations were low for Gumiho. But he takes on Rogue 2-0. Geralt takes down Mana 2-1. Geralt takes down Gumiho 3-0. Very impressive play there by Geralt. But as I mentioned, like Gumiho, I think I would have favored Rogue against Geralt there, but Gumiho was able to pop off earlier, so well won there for Gumiho. And if you remember, I was emphasizing how stacked the lower bracket was instead. Like for Beyond, Spirit, Solar, and Hero to be stuck together felt kind of weird. Felt a little bit lopsided just because like the caliber of play there was very concentrated compared to the upper half of the brackets. But regardless, Beyond takes on Spirit 2-1, went to the ace match. Solar takes on Hero 2-1, went to the ace match. Solar takes on Beyond 3-1 in the best of 5, and Solar 3-0s Geralt in the grand finals. Shout out to Geralt for making it to the finals, but congratulations to Solar for claiming that win. Again, unfortunately, I'll be honest, the bracket did feel a little bit mismanaged just because Spirit, Beyond, and Hero would have been greater threats to Solar in the finals, but they were all together in the same portion. So again, a little bit lopsided there. But regardless, I mean, I guess that's how the seeding worked out. And congratulations to Solar for claiming the win. GG, well played. Congratulations to Solar. That leads us into the Wardy TV Korean Royale. This is a new event that's going to be beginning in a couple of days. But what did we have? The qualifiers. They did take place over the past couple of days. I believe we did raid during some of the qualifiers as well. First thing, we have the first qualifier. Again, it is top two. Top two do make it. The final series is just for seeding. Hero takes on Shameless 2-1. Solar takes on Rogue 2-0, and then Hero takes on Solar 2-0. Gets his revenge. But again, the final series didn't really have as much weight behind it. Just a seeding match. Both Hero and Solar make it through. Meanwhile, that leads us into the second qualifier. Solar takes on Percival. Wait, what? That Solar's already qualified. Yo, what's happening with the adminning for these tournaments? Like, what's again, Solar and Hero, they already qualified for the event. Solar, he plays in the second qualifier. I feel like this happened previously in awardee events. And Solar takes on Percival. Solar takes on Ryung 2-0. And Solar, he does qualify. He does re-qualify. Ryung, he took down Creator. Very impressive. And we have Solar and Ryung advancing on into the main event. And I believe the way that Wardy handles this, I think he just lets players double up and double dip. And I think that just means there's one extra invite, essentially. So, yep, from the qualified players. As you can see, if you look at the main Wikipedia page, Hero and Solar made it through the first qualifier. And from the second qualifier, it's just Ryung. And really, it should be 2 slots, and it should go to the next best player. But the way that Wardy handles things is that it just means that, okay, only 1 player qualified, and then that just means 1 extra invite, which is kind of weird. Like, it's kind of weird. I mean, it's kind of okay, I guess, if he just invites someone that competed in the qualifier number 2. Who was it? Who competed? Let's have a look here. So Percival and Creator. If they both get invited, then I guess it's fine, right? If they both get invited, like it's they still get like rewarded for their work, competing in the qualifier and not making it through, even though Solo was already qualified in. So because of that, there's still like ways to make up for that, but I would say I hope to see that Creator and Percival get invited, right? It would be a shame if Solo just eats a slot and just takes it. Like, what would have happened if like Hero played as well? Like what if they both just win both slots? Yeah, it's kind of a weird way that Wardy does handle this. Again, this is not the first time this has happened. It's happened a couple of times now where he just lets them double dip, and just removes a slot and just invites whoever he wants instead. But again, as long as he invites like Percival and Creator, them both, then it's fine. It's fine, I suppose. And the event will begin in 2 days' time. We still have 2 days to confirm invites. It's going to be 10 more. 10 more players invited into the tournament. I believe this is meant to be a Korean focus and Korean centric tournament. Qualifiers were open to all other regions, so that's why we saw players from Europe also competing. But again, it is mainly meant to be just players from the Korean scene.
From what I understand, the qualifiers were open, but they were all played on Korea. So I guess you could participate as long as you were willing to play on Korea.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. And again, we've yet to confirm the invited players. It is going to be a round-robin group stage for Group A and Group B. That's going to be a lot of matches. A lot of StarCraft is going to be going on. And then it leads into the playoffs as well, with a very unique format with, depending on your placement in the group stage, you do actually skip rounds in the playoffs. So again, this is going to be an interesting tournament. Great to see. Again, this is basically an annual event. The last one was in 2024. Now this one is going to be in 2025. So best of luck to all those competing and all those invited players as well. And with that, that is going to be us wrapping up today's podcast. That was all of our results here for the week. A lot of tournaments and also a lot of news as well. A lot of optimism, I will say, moving forward for StarCraft in regards to the Chinese server, in regards to the Chinese events, in regards to all the big events that we're just wrapping up. EPIC.LAN, SC for All, Stellar Fest, RSL, the Team Liquid event that we had, and of course the upcoming next year, or upcoming 2026, BlizzCon tournaments, the Blizzard Cup, the Blizzard Classic Cup for BlizzCon 2026. So a lot to look forward to, a lot has been wrapping up, and a lot more StarCraft to come. If you want to take part in some of these events, especially when it comes to the Open Cups and other LAN events that do have open registration, do check out the sign-up list. ! Sign-up list in the chat. We have Code for Giants Cup. That's going to be tomorrow. We have the KSL. We have Sea Duckling Open, Sunrise Cup, Hatchery Cup, and many, many more events. I'll be honest, I didn't even notice the Hatchery Cup was around the corner as well. Oh my god. The return of Hatchery. It's been a while. The return of Hatchery Cup. Let's go. Let's go. But yeah, there's a lot of StarCraft, a lot of content around the corner. If you want to take part, if you want to sign up, if you want to compete, then do consider checking out the sign-up list. Again, all of these tournaments are open sign-ups. There are some that have restrictions, like MMR restrictions or region restrictions as well. But for those that are open sign-up, consider playing, consider competing, consider taking part and being a part of the greater community. Consider it. So you do have plenty of events to sign up for. Likewise, if you want to support us here on the CranKy Ducklings, you can do so via Patreon. ! Patreon in the chat. Our Patreon is designed to fund our tournaments, specifically Sea Duckling Open, Master Stone Open, and Sparkling Tuna Cup. All of our events are run on a regular basis, and they are all funded via Patreon. Our Patreon is designed to grow our events, to boost the prize pool, and ideally to make it so that we can afford a monthly tournament as well. Monthly finals, I should say. If you've been watching the channel, you'll know we've had a monthly finals for September and October, but that's because of very generous donations in the chat. A very generous donator in the chat did allow us to actually have these monthly finals throughout the past couple of months until the end of the year. We would love to organically grow our Patreon to be able to host these events on a regular basis coming into 2026. That is the dream. The dream is to be able to organically have the grassroots support to be able to host those monthlies every single month coming into next year. We'll see if we can get there. We'll see if we can get there. Otherwise, thank you so much for all the support that we already get, of course. Like, thank you so, so much. Our Patreon has grown so much throughout the course of the year. And if you want to support us, you can do so. And support StarCraft, you can do so via our Patreon. Thank you. Thank you so much. Otherwise, we are going to be wrapping up here for the day. When it comes to our next broadcast, when it comes to some more StarCraft, our next cast should be tomorrow morning. Is going to be the Wardy TV Monday number 58 replay cast, so we should be covering that. Likewise, over the weekend, we have KSL, we have Sea Duckling Open, Pickers Cup replays, and Tuna Cup. I did mention this before. Stellarfest is over the weekend, and we were asked to be the B stream. It was very late. Depending on when it is, we might reschedule our own cast, and we might make some room for Stellarfest, but yet to be confirmed, yet to be determined. It is last minute, and we'd love to be a part of it, but depends on, you know, when the event is, how long it's going to be. Like, I'm still recovering from Messi for All, I'll be honest. Like, I've barely slept since then. Like, it's just been so much content. Like, it's been a really busy week already for us, so we'll see. If we're able to be a part of Stellarfest, then we'll do it. Otherwise, we might just sit it out and get some sleep. We'll see. We might just get some rest, but we'll see. We'll find out what happens there. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it. Thank you so, so much. Gracias, papi, gracias. Do appreciate it. Sorry, just catching up. Where is Rogue? Oh no, Rogue, he was competing in some of the events that we covered. Some of them. But otherwise, thanks for watching. I mean, he competed in the Wardy event, if you recall, where he lost to Gumiho. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Thank you so much for the support. We do appreciate it. And again, we'll see you guys next time. We'll see you guys tomorrow for some more StarCraft action. We'll see you guys next week for some more podcasts, as this is a weekly talk show, a weekly wrap-up show of all things StarCraft. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Until then, hasta luego. And also, a big shout out to Kuro as well. Kuro for handling the production. If you want to support us, if you want to follow us, you can do so via YouTube. We do upload on YouTube on a daily basis, so plenty of content, plenty of VODs over on YouTube. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. See you then. Ciao, papi, ciao. See you tomorrow.